Welcome to another daily dose. This one here, I want to talk a little bit more about palettes and color palettes. We have already seen there's quite a number of choices here, and a few more. You can always get a new color palette mixer, and the color mixer here is floating, so you can keep it handy where you need it as you're painting with some colors and going around here making even your own colors. If you go to the paint mode here, get some orange, add a couple of dabs, smear them in there, and go back to the color picker, and you got your perfect color choices here. Tons of presets also, and we'll see, of course, many ways to also make your own and add some to this. Now, the color mixer is one way, and we've seen another way, which is if you have a picture already here, you can turn this into a color picker. Now, right now I have a large image. You might need to crop that, and there is a better way. Because ultimately what you'd like to do is to get it into this. Let me show you this. I'm going to store the image, and then when it's stored, simply click on the color picker, and so now that image acts as a color palette. Problem is I have a lot of white space around it. Right, so I would have to perhaps first go and crop it. Right, go do a selection, something like this here, and crop it. But I really typically don't want to crop the image just because I temporarily put my colors down here. A color palette is going to be something you quickly paint at the beginning of a project, and you define the colors you want to work with. Then you want to grab this and be done with it. Have it available as a color palette without affecting the size of your initial canvas that you've already made. So the new technique here is to actually make that selection, maybe a little bit tighter even, something like this, and then not store it straight into an image, but instead grab it into the custom brush. And if you have time, you can always store that. You can see it in the custom brush, but we don't actually want to use it as a brush. We want to convert it to a stored image. So there's a new feature here, stored as buffer. Now that's not in PD Pro or PD Howler yet. It's a separate plugin, a new plugin. We've incorporated it in this beta version of PD Artist 2. We're experimenting with this. So that's basically the idea, is to have this new feature directly under the brush menu, but it will also become a free plugin add-on that you can reach from the plugins panel in general. And since it's in the miscellaneous category, you should expect to see it down here in the miscellaneous tab, and it will be, what was it called? Brush oh yeah, down here, store brush as buffer. There. So when you double click that, it grabs the current custom brush. You have to have an image in the custom brush, right? And it grabs it and copies it straight into a stored instance of an image buffer. So there you are. Now at this point you can just put this down there. Right, so click that and you now have your color picker. So you go to the dark. Oh no, wait, I'm still painting with this brush, but of course I can change that. Simply go to the settings, and there's probably some shortcuts for that too. Right now I'm still using that custom brush. I want to go back to this, or I can go to the color media and select something like an airbrush here. Right. Okay, so now you got your colors, and you can go with blue, with orange, whatever your colors are. Okay, so we saw that technique, which is to grab the image into a custom brush, and then from the custom brush get it straight into. Alright, so what I want to do now is to show you 2 or 3 other places where you can grab images and turn them into custom brushes. And that place is a really weird place. It's called Real Life. Here, for instance, I was at Comic-Con, and Mark Sparaccio was doing some demonstration in his booth, and interesting display of very colorful posters and imagery. And then I saw, here's Mark doing some explanations, and I noticed down here in the lower left something really interesting. He had this little color palette. Wait, let me zoom into that a little bit better. Alright, so I asked him, and he allowed me to take a picture of it. So I have it here in earphone view. We can certainly improve the color of this a little bit. This picture looks a little bit dingy. We could do this in earphone view, perhaps with what is it, Shift U I think is a great way. Then I do Control C for copying that, and I go straight over here, Control V to paste it either into the existing image or replace as a new image. Alright, so we got this palette right here, and you know, the next step is simply to say store this as an image, and there you go, you got your color palette. Alright, so thank you, Mark. Click it here, and now you have a nice color palette. Right, you can go paint with this red, or with this brown, or with this deep magenta purple, whatever it is, and so on. So that's a technique that you can use whenever you have a particular color set that you see that you really like. You can use that in a heartbeat. Let me see, there is one more color. There was one more image example, I think, color palette 2. Yeah, there it is. This one is a photograph that I took also from simply, you know, a painter's palette. Where is it? There. So what I'll do is I'll copy that, Control C, go here to Dogwaffle, Control V to paste it in. And this is probably way too big. You know, when we need this as simply a color palette, we don't need it to be very high definition. So one thing I would recommend doing here is, first of all, resample it down a little bit. Let's see what we got here. Resample. Yeah, we had 1800 pixels by 1300. That's way too big. For a color palette, we can probably go to a quarter of that. Alright, and once we have that color palette, perhaps we want to crop a little bit. We don't need the wooden background there, for the purpose of it being a color palette, that is. There you go. Select that range and then crop it. Crop to the selection. And again, there you are. Now maybe you want to enhance the color dynamic range here a little bit, or perhaps go to the filters and adjust the value, make it a little bit brighter. But that, of course, will modify the appearance of these colors too. And let's see, what else could we do here? If you wanted it to be a little bit more discrete colors, fewer colors, right? Like for instance, if you look here, you have tons of different shades of blue and green, and perhaps you only want a few of those. One thing that works pretty nicely, if I recall, it's in the sharpen tool, max sharpen, there it is. See what that did? It now kind of sharpened it, and it gets very jaggy, but that's okay, because we don't care about the quality of the picture, we just care about the colors that are in there. It's a color picker. So we're going to perhaps increase this even higher, window size, threshold, no, go the other way. So you now bring it down to just a few colors. That's not it, keep it this way, right? Do that 2 or 3 times and you end up having, you know, very few colors to choose from, but perhaps exactly the ones you are after. A couple of other things you could do here is, let's see, what was it? There was, oh, some more color changes, color curve, power curve, roll channels. Go experiment with these filters. There's a lot of good value there, and some of them may be just what you need in order to, I don't know, what duotone, what does it do here? Oh, that's just wrong. Well, of course, unless you're Picasso and you want to play with blue and red. Yeah. So you can, you know, again, you can take a picture of many different origins and turn it into something very different, but it's going to be very valuable for you as a color picker. So again, once you've got that, only thing you need to do, in fact, you know, this one is not the one I want. Let me go undo that a couple of steps. There you go. This is the one I'll keep. Pretty coarse, very few colors, probably only a few hundred. And then I shall go and simply grab this as a stored image. Right, there it is. And clickety click, I now have a color picker, my color palette virtualized. Alright, so now I can simply go here or here and pick these colors as I need. Cool. Now there's one more thing that you might want to do. At some point you really don't need to know that this was a photograph of a real color picker. So hey, nothing wrong, it's just totally blurring it, right? Go to the box filter or the Gaussian blur, blur this thing out here. Something like this. The size, go. And now we have a really beautiful color picker. Let's go store this thing. There you go. Look at that. And if you like it horizontal, if you like it vertical, you can lay it out in a couple of different ways. The beauty of it is it travels with you too. You can create your new buffer of any size that you're going to paint at, and then if you need these colors nearby, if you need some greens, get them. Oh wait, better use the tools to actually paint with. All right, there it is. Go paint with this. Go paint with that. Go paint. And that's the key thing, is that you don't want to waste too much travel left and right with a mouse or with a tablet going to the color picker. You need this color picker right where you are, so as you're doing some painting, some detail work, you don't have to go travel away too far, and you can focus on the painting you're doing. Alright, so that's it for a quick one. We have another one coming by Dan Ritchie on additional ways to making your color pickers. You've probably seen him do a quick dab, a quick color picker creation, a color wheel or a circle and a ring in some of the other videos, and he will explain more about that in an upcoming segment. Thanks for watching the Daily Dose, and come back soon for another.